Greetings, adventurers. My name is Mundar, and welcome to Mundar Games. Today we'll be reviewing the module Wizard's Challenge. Warning, we will be approaching this module from a DM's perspective, so there will be spoilers. We will do our best to evaluate the module in terms of story, setting, encounters, and anything unique that it brings to the table. And while we'll present the module in its original edition, we're going to keep a keen eye towards how you, as the DM, can adapt it to fit the game you want to run. So let's get started. So, the Wizard's Challenge was written by Tim Beach and published by TSR Incorporated for the second edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons in 1992. It is the second of 8 modules in the head-to-head quest series that were intended to be playable by just one character, and specifically this module was designed to be played by a lone wizard between the levels of 2nd level and 5th level. However, it is well suited for a small group of adventurers of a similar level. Wizard's Challenge is primarily a mystery adventure that places problem-solving and role-playing ahead of combat. That doesn't mean there's no combat, and because it is a single-player adventure, the DM needs to be aware that a few bad die rolls could put an abrupt end to both the adventure and the adventurer. Chapter 1 lays out the village of Northbank and its surrounding environs. Northbank was for years home to a wizard's guild, which, while no longer operational, still draws budding magic users from all around wanting to learn their craft. The village makes an excellent starting location for low-level adventuring parties, specifically those that have casters, as many of the businesses are geared towards supplying the needs of local wizards, as you can see here. The adventure lays out in excellent detail 20 points of interest in the village and 14 NPCs, making for easy adventure prep. Chapter 2 introduces 3 higher-level wizard NPCs who will play an important role in the adventure. Chapter 3 introduces the most unique and I think the best part of the adventure. This section lays out a 14-day timeline for what happens in town to drive the adventure. Kiristan, the former guildmaster of the Northbank Wizards Guild, let the power go to his head and has turned himself into a lich. He is currently creating a horde of undead wizards from his former students and colleagues. Surisk, one of his former apprentices, who has been turned into a spectral wizard by his former mentor, is Kiristan's loyal lieutenant, and refers to himself as the Ghost Prince. It is Surisk's role to recruit magic users, voluntarily or involuntarily, to join Kiristan's army of spectral wizards. The timeline provides the details of Surisk's work in Northbank, and provides a sense of urgency to the adventure, as the longer the PCs take to solve the mystery of the Ghost Prince, the more bad things happen to the citizens of Northbank. Chapter 4 lays out 2 key locations. The first is Narada, the alchemist's house. Narada is the first NPC visited by the Ghost Prince, and potentially his first victim. Her house also provides a number of clues furthering the investigation, which will potentially lead to the next location, which is the Hermit's House. The Hermit's House is a small cave complex west of the village, where hidden among the results of some of Surisk's former experiments are clues to get the players to the final encounter in the hidden tower near the coast. Chapter 5 details the Wizard's Tower and the final encounter with the Ghost Prince. Being a Wizard's Tower, it has a unique design as residents use their magic to traverse the floors, and while there are a few rooms to explore, it exists mainly as a place to battle the Ghost Prince. Chapter 6 details 6 side adventures that the DM can throw in either as part of the main story or as options for low-level players to further explore Northbank. Examples include component gathering for one of the wizards, to capturing an osquip and a giant scorpion that have escaped from the zoo. And finally, there are 2 pages at the end of the module that detail new magic items and a new monster type, the Spectral Wizard, and the spell used to create them. So how can Wizard's Challenge fit into your campaign? I think Northbank makes an excellent starting location for a one-on-one campaign or a group of starting characters. You can use the side quests to give your characters a few levels and introduce the village and then start the main investigation. The Ghost Prince can be a tough fight as he has numerous resistances, including only being able to be hit by magic weapons, and he also has a paralyzing touch attack that, if you're not careful as a DM, could make for a rough ending to the adventure. This can be mitigated by making good use of the number of NPCs in town that are willing to sign on as hired help. This is a 2nd edition module, and you can run it that way, but let's say you want to drop it into your 5th edition campaign. Older versions of Dungeons & Dragons were much freer in the amount of magic items that were made available to players at all levels, and this adventure is no different. And this being a town full of wizards exacerbates that problem even more. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I think 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is a little too stingy in the amount of magic items that it gives out to players. And I understand this is for balance purposes, but there's nothing more exciting than defeating a bad guy and getting a really cool magical item. But if you do run the module as written, you will probably need to compensate later on in the campaign for the amount of magical items that your party will be carrying. Final verdict, I think this is an excellent module to start out a campaign or to drop into your sandbox campaign as one of a number of possible starting locations that they could choose. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more adventure reviews like this, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have ideas of things you'd like me to add for future reviews, be sure and list those things down in the comments down below. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other, and remember that life is a one-shot adventure, so play it the best that you can.